3-eye atlas is really interesting. It's what's called an interstellar comet.
It moved too fast to be bound to the sun. Very first object that we have found coming to us from interstellar space, from other...
At first, astronomers dismissed it as a sensor error, a stray reflection, or a fleeting glitch. But the readings held fast. A colossal object 100 times larger than anything near 3-eye atlas was moving with uncanny precision, its course shifting as if aware. This wasn't a comet, nor a chance encounter. Its trajectory seemed deliberate, locked onto Atlas with silent intent. Could something out there be orchestrating this cosmic dance? Grab a seat as we reveal what this unprecedented discovery could mean. The detection of Swan and its changing course. They thought they had the heavens all charted, every glimmering rock, every wandering ice body catalogued and predicted. But the cosmos, as always, had other plans. When astronomers first plotted the motion of a peculiar luminous body, their models failed spectacularly. The data didn't line up with anything known. Its path curved, shimmered, and then seemed to adjust, as if the object itself refused to be mapped. At first, the mystery centered on two separate visitors. One, dubbed 3-eye Atlas, came sweeping in from the constellation Sagittarius, cutting through the void on a trajectory no one expected. The other, far brighter and larger, approached from Aquarius, its movement eerily synchronized with Atlas, despite emerging from an entirely different region of space. When both appeared to be heading toward the inner solar system along paths that would intersect within days of each other, even the most skeptical astronomers paused. Nature, after all, doesn't usually coordinate such coincidences. The skies lit with anticipation. Observatories across Chile, Hawaii, and Europe began pointing their instruments toward the converging wanderers. The larger object, eventually named C2025-R2 Swan, shone so vividly that it outclassed most comets on record. Its tail stretched nearly 4 times the width of a full moon, glowing like a torch against the black canvas of space. Yet it wasn't just its brightness that raised eyebrows, it was its behavior. Most comets crumble as they near the sun, their icy shells boiling away into nothingness. But Swan did not disintegrate. Instead, its brilliance held steady, almost defiant, as though something unseen protected it. Then, in the quiet hours of September 11th, 2025, a new series of readings stunned astronomers once more. The massive object had subtly altered its course, not drifting, but pivoting, as though responding to invisible forces. Tracking software flagged the motion as non-gravitational acceleration. In simpler terms, it moved like something under control. Within hours, global space agencies rechecked their data, hoping it was an error. It wasn't. Swan's pulse-like brightness patterns appeared rhythmic, deliberate, like bursts of propulsion hidden in its glowing tail. Meanwhile, 3-eye Atlas mirrored this unpredictability. It flickered in strange color shifts, accelerated in sudden bursts, then slowed, only to surge forward again. Its orbit bent toward the same solar corridor Swan was gliding into, and the closer they drew, the more their paths aligned. It was as though two separate messengers had been dispatched with one destination in mind. By early October, tension filled the astronomy community.
A huge update on our favorite interstellar object. It could be the biggest update in the solar system.
Both objects were now heading behind the sun, into the blinding zone where Earth's instruments cannot observe. From October 8th to the 18th, every major telescope went dark to them. 10 days of silence. No signals, no images, no confirmation. Just an unnerving absence during the precise moment when both were nearest to each other and to the sun itself. When they finally re-emerged from the solar glare, something had changed. Swan's projected coordinates no longer matched its earlier orbit. It had shifted once again. Even its tail structure seemed different, as if reshaped by an unseen hand. Atlas, too, appeared altered, trailing less debris, but moving faster than before. Theories erupted. Was this coincidence? Or had something occurred during that blind interval that human eyes weren't meant to see? Some scientists began whispering terms like controlled maneuvering and artificial coordination. Others dismissed such notions as wild speculation. But the patterns remain: perfect timing, precise convergence, impossible trajectories. If this were random, then randomness itself has rewritten its rules. For now, both Swan and 3I Atlas continue their dance across the heavens, tracing paths that seem guided by purpose rather than chance. And as their luminous trails fade beyond the reach of our telescopes, one question lingers in every observatory on Earth. What exactly was moving out there, and who, if anyone, was steering it? Keep watching to find out. The cosmic dance of Swan and 3I Atlas. At first, astronomers dismissed it as a trick of light, a reflection or interference from the sun. Yet as days turned into weeks, subtle patterns emerged that defied natural explanation. 3I Atlas, a luminous object the size of Manhattan, was not drifting aimlessly through space. Its tail flared in sudden, precise bursts, each accompanied by sharp shifts in color, as though some internal mechanism were responding to an unseen command. 3 distinct accelerations were recorded, nearly evenly spaced, releasing energy beyond what anyone expected from a mere comet, energy that no natural outgassing could account for. Meanwhile, a far larger object, C2025R2 Swan, already under scrutiny, displayed similar but vastly magnified behavior. Its enormous tail pulsed in symmetrical waves, glowing with a metallic sheen and a steady halo that suggested deliberate control. Energy readings reached nearly 10,000 gigawatts, exceeding the combined power output of Earth's electrical grid. Swan's rhythmic pulses resembled a propulsion system, guiding it through space like an enormous cosmic vessel rather than a wandering comet. Slowly, a startling realization took hold among astronomers. If 3I Atlas was maneuvering like a scout, Swan might be its commanding structure, a much older, much larger object orchestrating movements across millions of miles. Observers noticed an even stranger phenomenon. Both objects appeared to react to each other. 3I Atlas adjusted its speed and trajectory in response to Swan's pulses, while Swan itself subtly altered its path as if aware of its smaller counterpart. Random chance could not explain such coordination. From ground-based observatories to backyard telescopes, scientists found themselves piecing together a picture too precise to be natural. Whatever these objects were, they were navigating, not drifting, and their paths were slowly converging. The suspense intensified when Swan's tail began to approach Earth, its debris field brushing past the atmosphere. Public alerts barely captured the scale of what was happening. Then, without warning, data streams ceased. NASA and the European Space Agency suspended updates, officially citing solar conjunction as the reason. Internal leaks, however, suggested more. Astronomers were instructed not to release images or radar readings, and proposals for observations were quietly denied. The blackout left independent researchers relying on small observatories and private networks. Their findings confirmed a growing suspicion. The two objects were not merely passing near each other, they were aligning, perhaps converging, moving in a synchronized celestial dance.
12 o'clock, 6 o'clock position, both of them. And they're both seen, so that's what we have.
Weeks passed, yet Swan and 3I Atlas continued their approach, the distance between them shrinking with every orbit. Their movements suggested a level of coordination beyond natural forces, hinting at a hidden mechanism, perhaps even intelligent design. Questions that once seemed purely theoretical now demanded attention. Could Swan be guiding 3I Atlas? Was it a relic of ancient cosmic technology returning on a timed cycle? And when the two finally meet, what will unfold in the depths of space that human eyes cannot yet see? For now, the answers remain elusive, but one truth is undeniable. The heavens are far more intricate and far more mysterious than anyone had imagined, and these two objects have rewritten the rules of what we thought possible in our solar system. But could this be a cosmic message repeating itself? Stay tuned. Swan, the silent guardian. Observers noted a pattern emerging that defied ordinary explanation. Swan's trajectory traced a rhythm stretching across tens of thousands of years, linking back to the end of the last ice age. Ancient carvings at places like Göbekli Tepe, once thought symbolic, now appeared startlingly precise, depicting spirals and celestial forms that echoed the movement of something enormous across the sky. The thought that humans may have witnessed Swan before, long before writing or recorded history, unsettled researchers. These patterns suggested not a fleeting comet, but a presence returning on an almost unimaginable cycle. Behind closed doors, classified programs tracked Swan with instruments far beyond public reach. A small probe was dispatched, equipped to pierce the thick, shimmering coma surrounding the object. Its approach, however, revealed anomalies that challenged the limits of physics. Roughly 1 million kilometers from Swan, signals began to distort. Initially attributed to solar interference, the readings soon displayed sharp, deliberate sequences, patterns too precise to be random. The final image transmitted back showed an impossible phenomenon. The probe's reflection mirrored perfectly, as if Swan had observed and returned the image intentionally. Seconds later, the signal vanished entirely. Analysis suggested a complex energy structure enveloping the object, a vast web that absorbed and scattered incoming data. Colleagues quietly called it an energy wall, behaving like a Faraday cage suspended in space, neutralizing attempts to penetrate or probe its interior. The implications were staggering. Swan did not behave like a comet. It reacted, reflected, and seemed aware of the instruments studying it. Each pulse of light, each mirrored signal hinted at deliberate control, an intelligence or design beyond natural formation. Repeated observations confirmed the anomaly. Its size alone was monumental, but combined with the periodic orbit and responsiveness, Swan resembled a constructed structure moving through space with purpose. Its behavior suggested coordination, almost as if it were testing or communicating with those attempting to observe it. Meanwhile, Atlas followed a parallel path, subtly shifting, perhaps in response, suggesting a connection between the two. Every new reading added layers to the mystery. Swan was no ordinary celestial body. It combined predictable orbital mechanics with actions that implied awareness. Scientists and independent observers were left piecing together fragments of data that hinted at something far older, far larger, and far more complex than anything humanity had ever catalogued.
An object that has come from beyond our solar system.
A presence that had survived through millennia and now once again moved silently above the Earth. But what force could orchestrate such precision, guiding Swan and Atlas as if by conscious design? Don't blink, you'll want to see what comes next. Patterns in the void. The deeper the data was analyzed, the more anomalous it appeared. Spectroscopic readings from space telescopes revealed Swan's chemical signature to be unlike anything previously catalogued. Traces of complex organic molecules were arranged with precision that defied natural randomness. In terrestrial labs, similar compounds form the backbone of amino acids, the building blocks of life itself. What unsettled scientists was not their presence, but their immaculate order. Each molecular band was symmetrical, refined, and deliberate, a stark contrast to the chaotic dispersal typical of comets shaped by collisions or thermal stress. Some researchers began to entertain an extraordinary possibility that Swan was not merely a drifting body, but a vessel, perhaps even a carrier of life's raw ingredients. If Atlas acted as a smaller, agile scout, reactive and maneuvering, then Swan could function as an archive, preserving and transporting complex organic matter across interstellar distances. This hypothesis offered an unsettling yet elegant explanation for the synchronized movements observed between the two objects. Independent observatories, tracking their orbits, noticed a pattern impossible to dismiss. Swan and Atlas were not simply traversing nearby trajectories, they were converging along a shared corridor, approaching the inner solar system almost simultaneously. The precision of their paths suggested orchestration, a deliberate choreography against the vast randomness of space. Simulations reinforced this impression, the alignment repeated across models, resisting explanations rooted in chance. Speculation intensified when researchers considered potential mechanisms. Could the Sun act as a stabilizing energy source, enabling Swan and Atlas to adjust course and maintain proximity? Might Atlas transmit collected data to Swan, which then relayed the information outward to unseen destinations? Some whispers went further. Perhaps the convergence was not merely a meeting between the objects, but a timing aligned with humanity's capacity to observe. After millennia of silent passage, their signals were now detectable, their timing uncanny, as if the universe had arranged for Earth to witness the phenomenon. In control rooms and observatories, the thought lingered quietly. If these objects were more than natural, they were not indifferent. Their movements, their structure, and their precision might hint at awareness, and possibly a purpose that now included us. But could these cosmic travelers be signaling something we were never meant to fully understand? Keep watching. The mysterious signals from the void. Observations of Swan revealed behavior that no natural object should exhibit. Its light was not merely reflected, it was generating radiation in a range almost empty in the cosmos, between soft X-rays and gamma rays. The emissions pulsed with deliberate rhythm, structured and precise, unlike any comet or asteroid recorded. Some engineers whispered of intent, of signals designed to convey information, or perhaps to disrupt observation. Ground arrays in Australia blinked out temporarily, and instruments aboard the Webb telescope struggled to recalibrate, as if the object knew it was being watched. Swan's movement, too, defied expectation. It glided through space without exhaust or shock, appearing almost aware, responding to scrutiny like a presence rather than a mass of ice and rock. Unlike Oumuamua, which passed silently through the solar system,
It implied that it came from outside the solar system because gravity cannot bind it to the sun.
Swan broadcast itself forcefully, its energy unmistakable, territorial. Then the unprecedented occurred. A sudden burst of energy, not aimed at Earth, but directed at the Moon. Amateur satellite trackers caught it first, layered waves of radiation changing in rhythm, tone, and polarization, repeating with precision every few seconds. The Deep Space Network confirmed the target, a known lunar mascon, a gravitational anomaly beneath the crust long considered a natural remnant of ancient impacts. Now, the implications were chilling. If Swan was interacting with the mascon, then these dense regions might not be geological after all. Could they be artificial structures lying dormant for eons, now responding to Swan's signal? Every new reading intensified the mystery. The pulses continued, sometimes aligning with Atlas's trajectory, suggesting coordination between the two objects. Each subtle fluctuation hinted at a sequence far larger than mere chance. A silent orchestration linking Swan, Atlas, and perhaps even the Moon. Scientists could only track, measure, and speculate. Every signal, every pulse raised more questions than answers. The pattern was undeniable, and yet its purpose remained hidden, teasing the edge of comprehension. Swan, Atlas, and the awakening of Earth. Magnetometers scattered across continents began registering pulses with unsettling precision, each one following a rhythm that mirrored Swan's energy bursts in space. Every 43 seconds, the Earth seemed to respond as if it recognized the signal. Seismographs in Antarctica, South America, and parts of Asia picked up ultra-low frequency vibrations, silent to humans but undeniable to the instruments. No tectonic shift or volcanic tremor could explain the steady cadence. It was as if the planet itself had begun to hum along, awakening to a memory buried deep within its crust. Wildlife offered its own testament. Birds veered from established migratory routes, whales shifted paths, and insects altered their courses, all synchronized with the pulses from above. Initial explanations pointed to solar storms, but the pattern held with unnerving consistency. Each signal from Swan seemed to ripple through the planet, bending magnetic fields and realigning Earth's natural rhythm. For some scientists, the implication was impossible to ignore. Swan's influence was no longer confined to space. It had reached the world beneath our feet. The connection to past mysteries only deepened the unease. Oumuamua, the enigmatic visitor of 2017, appeared in hindsight not as a random traveler, but as a kind of test, a lock awaiting a key. Now, Three-Eye Atlas acted as the scout, nimble and responsive, while Swan carried the energy and purpose of an ancient mechanism. Instruments that had been dormant for decades, including the Voyager probes, suddenly transmitted brief bursts of indecipherable data in sync with Swan's strongest pulse. Even the James Webb telescope, designed to peer into the distant past, began revealing patterns pointing inward, back toward our solar system. The The synchronization of these objects was no longer a mere coincidence. Swan's pulses, Atlas's maneuvers, and the echoes through Earth suggested a deliberate system, a sequence established long before humanity could perceive it. For those tracking the phenomena, the question shifted from observation to interpretation. If this mechanism had endured for millennia, patiently awaiting detection, what was its purpose? And now, with humanity finally watching, was the planet itself part of the design, an instrument responding to an intelligence far beyond our understanding? Each new reading deepened the mystery, every pulse and movement reinforcing the sense that something vast and ancient was awakening, not just in space, but within the Earth itself, waiting, calculating, and observing. But if these pulses and signals are linked, what are they trying to reveal? And who is really listening? Stay tuned. Earth's hidden dialogue. The pulses from Swan ripple through Earth's magnetic field, threading invisible currents from deep within the crust to the instincts of migratory birds and oceanic creatures. Each surge seems to carry intent, a pattern that whispers of a connection far older than recorded history. Atlas, smaller yet agile, mirrors Swan's rhythm, darting along its own path with precision, as though responding to a signal no human instrument can yet decode. Together, they no longer appear as mere celestial wanderers, but components of a vast mechanism, one in which Earth itself is entwined. Observatories that once broadcast data freely now issue only fragments, and some archives have quietly vanished. Engineers and astronomers, once eager to share discoveries, now speak in guarded terms, their silence thick with implication. The most striking element isn't merely the alignment of these bodies, but the feedback loop they generate. Pulses from Swan trigger measurable vibrations in the planet, and subtle shifts in Atlas's trajectory appear in time with those signals, suggesting an exchange that spans both space and matter.
That means it actually came to our solar system from another star system.
By October 20th, Swan's approach brings it closest to Earth, and its presence dominates the night sky, a luminous enigma that compels attention. Every observation, every instrument aimed at the comet seems to participate in the unfolding sequence, as if the act of looking has awakened a response. Could these emissions be a message, a test, or a form of calibration? Some researchers quietly entertain a more unsettling thought, that human observation itself has become part of the system, a trigger for actions far beyond comprehension. The synchronization between Swan, Atlas, and the reactions on Earth paints a picture that defies conventional understanding. Magnetic pulses, animal migrations, and spacecraft anomalies hint at a choreography whose purpose remains hidden. The questions multiply. If these objects are conscious, if they are deliberate, then what role has humanity unwittingly assumed in this vast network? The signals continue, each beat a reminder that this is no ordinary encounter, and that what we see may only be the surface of something far more intricate, deliberate, and ancient. So what do you think Swan and Atlas are really signaling? And could humanity itself be part of their mysterious cosmic pattern? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.